up, little mama? You want to get off of them electronics? Well, let me help you out. At the time when I'm recording this, it's the summertime. The sun is shining and the hose are out. Not that you would know. But seeing the seasons change is always a harrowing reminder of the ceaseless march of time, especially when the weather continues to change but you remain stagnant. You draw closer and closer to death every day. And if you didn't know, consuming online media speeds up the passage of time, because the way that your brain contextualizes the passage of time is through your memories. You perceive the density of time by the quality of your memories, and your memories are going to be logged differently depending on the sense data that you receive. While online content does seem to supply a lot of novelty, and new things should be memorable, this doesn't seem to happen with the internet. Right now, in consuming this content, you are really only engaging 2 of your 5 senses. If that, you might just be listening to me. And these 2 senses are of reduced quality because I'm in 2D. These are pixels on a screen, and also the vibrations of my voice are recordings. And what you're actually doing is you're stationary, doing nothing, or you're performing some sort of empty daily tedium that you're filling up with noise. Either way, you're not going to be fully and presently engaging your senses alongside this novelty, so it doesn't really log in your memory. Do you remember what you watched 3 days ago? What type of online content you consume? Probably not, unless it somehow had a profound emotional impact on you. As such, the consumption of online media speeds the passage of time, leaving large uneventful gaps in your memory as your life passes you by, years flying by like months, as your dreams shrivel up in your bitch-ass hands. The chronic internet media consumer, even when away from all of his devices, is formed by his habitual interaction with the media. He lives his inner time in a broken, jumbled mess. Whatever you want to get out of this summer, or the future in general, if you're watching this sometime later, I doubt you have constantly consuming internet media and functionally deleting time on your vision board. So I'm making this video to share some things that recently helped me shed my maladaptive internet consumption. Hopefully it will help. The internet and the mobile phone are ways of passing the time when one is prevented from or incapable of passing it otherwise. They are means of filling the empty spaces in our lives. So I suppose the most effective thing would be to fill up your life, so that there are less empty spaces in which you will turn to technology to fill the void. Even though it might be a little obvious, I have to mention that first. It is tricky though, especially when you consider that now a lot of people's occupations may even leave large empty gaps. It is a bit of an unfortunate thing, because if you now look at the average person's life, it is more empty than ever with the ongoing decline in social capital. Of course, the internet is almost certainly one of the reasons why, but I don't think the only one. And it's apparent that just filling up your life, while being the most effective thing, you should always keep this in mind, it's easier said than done. But the methods that worked for me aren't just, I'm not just going to tell you to go outside. What I'm going to tell you could be applied to anyone, no matter your situation. I'm going to assume you have paper skin that's so sensitive you can't even touch grass. You physically can't touch grass. There's also the dark web. You ever think about what's on there? You don't even know. They could have your passcodes, your home address, your full name, your freaky index score. Scammers, spammers, even big companies. AT&T revealed that 73 million customers' private information was released onto the dark web. Just recently, this came out. They could do anything. My buddy Eric, he lost all his money. He had to flee the country. I don't know, his ass is probably dead by now. And when something like this AT&T credit breach happens, you have to go through all this rigmarole, change all your passwords, check the credit bureaus. Who has time to constantly monitor all this shit? Not me, not Eric. I'll tell you who does though. The sponsor of today's video, Aura. They have a full recovery guide if you've ever suffered from identity theft. They give you new passwords. There's dark web scans. They check all of the public records. There's credit protection. There's even a VPN built in there. So it's actually a lot of stuff for just one service. So in order to be safe, to up your security in these turbulent times, go to aura.com/Gerbert or click the top link in the description to get a 14-day free trial to see how much of your info is out there on the dark web. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this video. Our conventional response to media, mainly that it is the way they are used that counts, is the numb stance of the technological idiot. For the content of a medium is like a juicy piece of meat carried by the burglar to distract the watchdog of the mind. What does this mean? It means that largely the medium is the message. Even this video, the content of which I intend to be helpful to break bad habits and save time, is corrupted by the medium, which is the internet, which is YouTube. This video was most likely algorithmically provided to you somehow. You could be doing any number of things while watching or listening to it. You could have come across this at the end of some sort of doom scrolling session where your brain is already fried. You could have multiple tabs open. There are suggested videos on the sidebar and a comment section that you might have already looked at to gain more stimulation. It's on this website, the one where every once in a while you get suggested a video. It'll be like French girls pole vaulting or some shit. And then the top comment will be some jackfucker going, "Ugh, men of culture, we gather again." I mean, dude. Now, the medium is the message is more of an attitude rather than a whole truth. Otherwise, I would see no purpose in making this particular video. But you do have to start seeing them as being fundamentally intertwined. You can't really completely separate them, because then you'll just be sucked into being terminally online forever under the sort of thin excuse that the particular content that you enjoy might not be as sloppy as what other people, you know. With something that is as ever-present as the internet now is, I have found that de-escalation is the most effective strategy. You know, you could try out radical actions, especially if you can't find a way back, like selling your smartphone, buying a dumb phone. But usually just any effort of just immediately stopping, especially if you grew up with this kind of stuff, will be fruitless. The internet's not a super stimulus. It's not like a drug. It's not like a potent high, but it's just everywhere all the time. So the cold turkey strategy I don't find to be effective. With that being said, there are some mediums that you should do your best to just outright reject and never turn to. The first one is short form content. Now, there may be some TikTok type short form videos that are genuinely funny, inspiring, or helpful, but it doesn't matter because the medium is just too cursed. It acts as a Trojan horse that can very easily mess up your attention span. If you're sent a reel or something like that, that's one thing, but don't scroll short form content that's constantly algorithmically, endlessly supplied. Also, something that I've noticed is that ultimately the medium will prevail in actually pulling down the content and making it worse. Over time, when I was scrolling these apps, I did just notice it getting worse and worse, despite me trying to like tailor my algorithm to be good. A lot of it is just such slop. Finding something actually inspiring or funny is really looking for a diamond in the rough. You know, people clown on it now and everything, but those OG Vine King Batch videos, what the dog doing? Hey, can I get some ice cream? Those were funny as fuck. They don't do it like that no more. The second medium that should just be avoided is pornography. And by this, I mean anything that is overtly designed to be horny. Except, I mean, like novels or whatever, but only girls do that. And, I don't really know what that does to your brain. Maybe it's bad. If you need an explanation for that, you can watch some of my other videos. But by the way, the same thing applies here where the medium drags down the content. That's why the plot of any adult film is not good. Anytime the horniness is injected into the creative medium, it just completely curtails the transcendental human creative instinct. No one's actually able to make something good if there is a conflicting intent to make you want to nut. Anytime it gets too horned up, that the actual quality of other things goes down. The only thing I can maybe, you could say like Game of Thrones or something. The only reason that was good was because of the books, and the books are way less horny. And once they ran out of the books, it got way worse, and then they went and made some shit-ass Star Wars movie. So actually, no. So when it comes to de-escalation, you have to understand the spectrum, the scale of media. You have the untouchables, which I just talked about. The next level down is you have general algorithmic entertainment. These are your YouTubes, your Twitters or X's, your Reddits. I mean, actually, Reddit should be part of the untouchables. These things have quite powerful algorithms that can keep you locked in for quite a long time. They're not in the untouchable tier because some good stuff are on platforms like X and YouTube, but you have to be very careful. The next are mediums that you still access through the internet, but that have algorithms that are not at all powerful. I'm thinking the higher level of this category are Netflix, your Hulus, then you go down to your Spotifys and Audibles. These platforms do have algorithms, but they're not especially reliant on them. And then with these mediums, you get to the ones where you can actually use them without internet. It's easy to download albums or audiobooks and listen to them on airplane mode. And then at the base, you have prehistoric mediums of entertainment, things like books or watching plays, or throwing things at children. You need to think about it like a diet. Lots of people track their caloric intake. You need to apply that same level to your media consumption. Go through your day, write down all the media you consume. You can use your phone's screen time for assistance. I think it would be especially helpful if you actually write it down in a journal. And this will be your starting point to which you will de-escalate from. You could take it pretty easy. De-escalate slowly, create a timeline, just make sure you don't regress. It's really not that jarring to de-escalate to lower stimulus mediums. So instead of doing something algorithmic, let's say when you're working out or eating or filling some of these empty spaces, just listen to music or an audiobook. And then you could go further from there if you would like. But here's the very first step. I mean, people are far gone. People are in the shower and they have to be listening to something, watching a YouTube video. A lot of people, it would be a step up for them to actually sit down and watch a TV show or movie and give their undivided attention to. I do think that downloadable content like audiobooks are going to be quite effective. And also in your just relaxing time where you might watch YouTube or a show or something like that, you could de-escalate to reading a paper book. Screens themselves are a medium, even if you want to read manga or something like that, buy the paper book. And here's another thing about the de-escalation to books and audiobooks. People try to go too far too fast. You're not listening to Nietzsche or Dostoevsky. Fucking slow your roll, pal. Either you're not that smart or, you've been consuming slop for 10 years straight and now you're trying to be an intellectual. Calm down, brother. Get a nice, easy to listen to inspirational self-help book or some fiction. Your dumbass is not going to sit down and read some Kant when you have technology calling to you right in your pocket. Take it slow, brother. You can entertain yourself. You can cope with lower stimulus mediums, and it's way more dignified. You might look at it, oh, you're being a nerd, but, being addicted, being chronically online to algorithmic content is way worse than being a nerd. It's being a nerd without any of the associated intelligence. You could de-escalate as far as you want to. Some good rules are, especially with algorithmic entertainment, one main medium, and especially one medium at a time. You don't want to be watching YouTube while you're playing video games. One medium at a time. Leave considerable room for complete silence. I would say the silence is probably best for early on in the day and also late before you go to bed. So there you go. There's the advice. De-escalate nice and easily by finding lower stimulus mediums that are enjoyable. From there, you can cut some of those out. And when it comes to algorithmic entertainment, you can very deliberately choose to use them in a moderate way. Well, thanks for watching, Lil Mama. Hopefully this helps you. Have a blessed day.